Well, while I was out in the woods on my way back, I thought I'd stop and have my coffee and my snack. I don't have a Pop-Tart this morning, but that's okay. Have a peanut butter and apple butter sandwich. But I wanted to reflect on this season, kind of wrap it up here when I'm still in this moment and I'm thinking about things. So here with my buddy, and just want to slow down on the way home and enjoy this because turkey season is over for me, and I want to put some things to mind so I can learn from and remember what happened this season. I made it out, I believe I was doing some math, about 8 times this year, and I think 3 of those times I didn't hear gobblers or a hen, but 5 of those 8 I did. So, you've got to be persistent, and even when it's not the best weather, I was out on a windy day and was on a gobbler, and Dave missed him. It rained that day, so got to be in the woods in order to kill a turkey. Another thing that I didn't do, I only screwed up once, I believe, and I didn't have a good setup. When you're calling with one person, at least in my experience, when I'm calling alone, you have to make the turkey look for you. Even more so because he's doesn't necessarily want to come to you, he wants you to come to him. So last time I was out, which was yesterday, it was the first day you could hunt all day, I set up on a turkey on this little saddle right on the edge of private and public, and the gobbler come down the hill great from the private, popped right onto the edge of the public, but when he did, he was too hidden for me to shoot him. But prior to that, he could look over across this little saddle and see me at 60, well, see where the area at 60 yards, and there was a hen there, my hen out, but he was waiting for her to come over. So I should have backed up the hill a little bit, got into some thicker green stuff, and made him come across that saddle and start up the hill to look for me. And I reflected on that last night going out. So this morning, setting up, as I didn't get it on video, but I probably sat down and called 4 times at different spots, and each time I'd sit there and I'd look and I'd say, this is not going to make him come look for you. He can pop up 40 yards away, 50 yards away, and see here and not see a hen and not come in. So fortunately it worked out that I thought he was going away and from me, so I tried to head him off, and as I got further away, and I think that worked to my advantage. And then I worked back to him, not because I thought that was what I needed to do for calling, but I needed to find a good spot to ambush him, so that I needed a little rise in the hill that he couldn't see, that I have to pop this little knoll. But when he did, he was in range, and it just worked out great that it happened that way. But I was intentional about finding a spot that offered, when I see him, he's going to be in range, and it worked out. Turkeys, there are turkeys where I've been, not as many as there necessarily have been in the past. I don't want to say that the turkey population's in a decline, because there'll be a couple hundred turkeys killed in Allegheny and Garrett County. Garrett County will probably lead the way again. So, and it really hasn't been harder hunting, but there have been times in the past where I may go out 5 days in a row and set up on a turkey, trying to call him in, working a bird, and boy, that makes it easier to get up in the morning, and I haven't gotten up once this year, in the morning to go out, besides days that I could stay out, whether I took them off or we had them off, vacation-wise. So, there's that. Didn't use my gobbler nearly as much this year. I popped him out twice. Well, probably 3 times. And he, I don't know how much the other 2 gobblers saw him whenever I killed the first one. Again, I was really hidden well. They popped into view and they had to be in range. But when they got to in range, they could definitely see my hand and my gobbler decoy. The other time I used it, it didn't draw a turkey in. I gobbled last night. Didn't have my gobbler decoy out because it's later in the season, and just from reading, and the trend is that birds are tired of fighting, so they're not necessarily ready to run in and do battle. So I haven't used him. Didn't use him last night. Didn't use him this morning intentionally. But I gobbled last night, and the bird responded to it, and he actually came back down over the hill again. I called him back in a second time, but he was, I think it was his one last ditch effort to pull the hen over to him, and she wasn't going anywhere because she's sitting on a stick with only one leg because she can't walk. I learned this year. I had a lot of turkeys respond to purr on my slate and raking leaves. They've actually gobbled to that, the small purr and the cluck in the raking leaves. So, that's definitely one that I never really considered to intentionally do. Never been good at purring, but I've got to get better at it. I got to learn how to mouth purr. I can sometimes do it, but sometimes isn't always going to cut it in the turkey woods if you're going to squawk. So calling decoy setup and being in not necessarily decoy setup, but using decoys and me setting up, I think are the 3 keys to success for turkey hunting. If you can find a gobbler, be in the spot that's good for him, make him look for you, and use the sounds that are calming and normal before that time of day, and you can be successful. I can be successful when it happens. So, well, I'm just gonna let the camera run here a little bit and drink a little more coffee. This has kind of become a tradition, for me at least, when I'm out. Things kind of slow down after the turkeys fly off the roost. Give the hens a chance to be bred and leave the gobbler, and then give the gobbler a chance to get lonely. It's 8:12, and I normally don't eat this earlier, but that's whenever I'm hunting for turkeys. And I'm not hunting them right now. This is good for my belly because I'm hungry, but I prefer grape or strawberry or raspberry over apple butter with my peanut butter. For me, I don't want to say it's the best because it's best for everybody, but I've come to really enjoy a cup of coffee and a snack in the woods in the spring, a couple hours after the sun comes up. It's hot, tastes good, gives you a little jolt after getting up early, and there's a good feeling associated with coffee in the woods. Anticipation of what's going to happen, or celebration of what did happen. kind of provide content and ramble at the same time. Justify my rambling. Last bird, I took the legs off and the thighs. Baked them. Flavor was good, with the spices I put on. But man, chewy. The meat was tough. Every six pieces seemed to be manageable. I ate one thigh. Couldn't even eat the legs, and part of the other thigh. So, I made soup out of these legs before. That seems to work because the pieces are really small. You can tear them up. And I've ground them up and made patties, and that works. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. Need to find a way to cook the breast. It's flavorful and not tough. So I think I'm going to inject the next turkey breast I make with, I don't know, butter, some lemon, Italian dressing. I'm not sure yet. Something to help keep it moist and tender and provide flavor at the same time. So, if either of you two subscribers have any ideas, comment below. I'm thinking about buying a new slate, just because, you want new things. But man, when you get a response like yesterday using a slate, and you get a response a couple times this year I've had using this slate with turkeys, working them, and it works, like, well, I get a new one, and this one works fine. Doesn't work when it's wet, which is okay. But it's loud. It's louder than my mouth call. I've heard louder slates. But I'm in this mindset, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I had my calls in mouthwash and water this year, and the glue has broken down on them, so I don't know if the one is going to hold together. I'm going to take them out of that, and it might last till next year. I have a couple calls that I have bought 2 years ago and haven't used all of them, just because I tried them and picked the two out I like to carry with me. But I think if I use them and break them in, they do produce a different sound. They're different cuts, made by the same guy. And I can probably make them work. If I can't, I'll get new ones next spring. I probably still have a half-hour walk yet at the pace that I can go now. Well, I'm probably halfway. But it's easy walking. It's always easier when you're coming back with a critter in your vest. Foliage is pretty full. You can tell behind me. 3 weeks ago when it started, wow, you could see for 100 yards some places through the woods. Now you might be able to see 60. And gobblers sound further than they really are. This guy here sounded far. He was down over the hill, and gobbles getting absorbed by the leaves. But he wasn't close enough that I was on edge right away. You can definitely tell when he was coming, he would gobble. But that's something I got to keep in mind as the season wears on. And this coffee's good. Bought a new thermos this year. My last one was a push button top, and it was just old and dried out, so it wasn't broken till last fall. So I got a new one. It's a little bigger, and it's got just a screw-on cap. It works. It snuggles down into my vest nice after you walk a while. Keeps coffee cold. So, and there's a little more in it than what there has been in the past. So, I am looking at walking home today. I took my sling off my gun. Gun's 5 pounds, turkey's 15 plus pounds. So I put the sling on his head and on his feet, and I got him over my shoulder, and I'm carrying my gun, and it's working out well. I've seen online where you can actually buy turkey slings that are out of paracord that slip over the head, slip over the feet. But this works fine. If I find that, gee, I'd really like to have a sling over my shoulder carrying my gun too, I'll invest in it, or I'll make one this summer. Who knows? Something simple. Can probably just get an old sling and tie some paracord on it and loop it, and it'll do the same thing. Won't be fancy and look good, but it'll serve its purpose. Well, the coffee's gone now. And I'm looking at the battery and up in the corner of the camera lens screen, and it's down to one little cell. So I'm just going to sit here for a few more minutes and listen. I might even call to strike up a gobble just for fun. Of course, I'll hear 25 gobbles now. That'll still be fun. And sign off and say I'm blessed in many ways. One of them is with the opportunity to hunt turkeys. And blessed with success with turkeys. So, thank you, Father God, for that. Hope you enjoyed it. It was fun to video this year. I need to get better at it, get a little more confidence with turning this camera on. The GoPro works great on the barrel, but it's not a handheld, it's just not this quality of image. GoPro's not built to do this, what this camera is. So, but it was fun documenting. It'll be nice to look back on it someday. So 2019 season is completed. It was a good one. It was fun. And look for more content this fall. Back in the pocket with you.